Okay, I'm going to do the next three examples kind of together as one. So this is actually example, let's see, we're going to do example 5, 6, 6A and 6B. So 5, 6A, and 6B is what these are. And we are dividing here. So simple one, again, back to the pre-algebra, algebra type problem. We're going to flip and multiply. So I'm going to rewrite the 10p(s) squared over 3c squared d. Change the division to multiplication because I'm flipping my second fraction. So I put my 6c squared d squared on top and my 5p(s) on the bottom. And then I can start reducing. I know my 10 and my 5 reduce. I know my 6 and my 3 reduce. I've got a p here and a p there. Those both go to 1. I've got an s squared and an s. So the s goes to 1 and the s goes to the first power. My c squareds are both to the second power, so they just reduce to 1s. And then I've got 2 d's on the top and 1 d on the bottom, so I can change this to just 1 d on top. So whenever I'm done, I want to look back and see what I've got left. I've got a 2, and then all the p's, I've got a 2 here and a 2 here. That makes 4. I've got an s to the first and a d to the first, which makes ds. And I look through the bottom, and it looks like every single thing got reduced to a 1, so my final answer would be 4ds. So change the division to multiplication and flip, take the reciprocal of that second fraction, and then start reducing everything and figuring out what you've got left. Okay, so this is the next example. This is going to be 6a. I'm going to be dividing. So again, I rewrite my first term, so my k minus 3 over k plus 1. Change the division to multiplication. Put the 1 minus k squared on top, and the k squared minus 4k plus 3 on the bottom. Then I want to factor the top. The k minus 3 is k minus 3, so I'm good. And then I want to take and change this 1 minus k squared. So I'll draw that across here. We'll put my k minus 3 back in there, my k plus 1 back in there. And then I want to factor 1 minus k squared, which is a difference of 2 squares. 1 is actually 1 times 1, and k squared is k times k. So this becomes 1 minus k, 1 plus k. And then on the bottom, I need to figure out the factors of 3 that add to get me 4, that add to get me a 4, a negative 4. So that would be a negative 3 and a negative 1. So that's going to be k minus 3 and k, ooh, that's an ugly k, and a k minus 1. So I've got the whole thing factored now, and then I'm ready to start reducing. So I look, and I've got a k minus 3, right? This is my k minus 3, and that's a k minus 3. I've got a k plus 1, and I got a 1 plus k, which are the same thing. And then I've got a 1 minus k and a k minus 1, and we just learned from the last video that this guy right here can be rewritten by taking out a 1, a negative 1, as 1 minus k. And so then whenever I rewrite that, I can reduce these two to a 1. And so whenever I'm finally done, I end up with 1 over negative 1, which is just negative 1. Everything canceled out pretty much. Okay, then I've got my third one that goes with this video. And that's written kind of tiny, so let me make this a little bit bigger here. So again, it's division, so I'm going to take my first one and rewrite it so it's 2d plus 6 over d squared plus d minus 2. Change the division to multiplication and take the reciprocal of the second fraction. So that's d squared plus 3d plus 2 on the top and d plus 3 on the bottom. Next step, I am going to factor. So I'm looking at the very first term, this one right here. And so they are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to take 2 times d plus 3. And then I'm going to factor the second one. And so I need to multiply to get negative 2 and add and subtract to get a positive 1. So that would be 2 minus 1. So that's going to be d plus 2, d minus 1. Change the division to multiplication, like we did. Factor the top over here. So multiply to get 2 and add to get 3. So that's a 2 and a 1. So that's going to be x plus 2, x plus 1. And then I've got my d plus 3 down here. Then I'm ready to start factoring this. Let me move this up a little bit. So I've got a d plus 3 here and a d plus 3 over there. I've got a, oops, I changed my d's to my x's. Let me go back and fix those. Those are all d's. That's a d and that's a d. So this is a d plus 2 and this is a d plus 2. And that's a d minus 1 and that's a d plus 1. And there's no way possible you're going to get those to be the same thing. So we've got everything canceled we can. So we have a 2, d plus 1 on top, and a d minus 1 on bottom. And the last thing is to decide when we are undefined. And we go all the way back to the beginning equation to find out when we're undefined, back here. And so the first term was factored down to a d plus 2, d minus 1. And so d cannot equal, from that, a negative 2. From that, a positive 1. And then this here was the other part of our denominator from our original problem, and you've got to go back to your original problem. So we can't be a negative 2, which we already have, and we can't be a negative 1, which we already have. So we are done. This is our final answer. D can't be negative 2 or 1, and we're equal to 2, d plus 1 over d minus 1.